Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. It is Wednesday. I can't believe it's Wednesday. I don't know where the time's going. I hope it's nicer weather wherever you are watching this, because it is absolutely dismal here in Kent right now, which is kind of adding to the joys of working from home. But again, I guess I was talking to someone the other day, and their point was that, well, at least you don't have to drive home in the dark, or drive to work in the dark and drive home in the dark as well. So there's a positive, there's a silver lining to everything, which I thought was a really good example. If you're new to this and you're new to the channel, my name is Luke. I'm the CEO of Sleeping Giant Media and Giant Campus. We focus on getting relevant traffic to our clients' websites. So whilst you're here on the social channel, be that on LinkedIn or YouTube, please do hang around, check out our content if you're looking to make your first steps to digital marketing, or you are looking to take them to the next level. We're going to have a quick look at the news this week, what's been going on before we introduce our guest. Let's have a look. So first off, in a week that saw 4 nations of the UK working together to find a solution for the safe COVID Christmas, with Environmental Secretary saying it may be too early to say what the rules might be. Excuse me 1 second, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. In other news, Comic Relief have made a decision to stop sending celebrities to third world countries to raise awareness. Instead, its fundraising appeals will be made by local filmmakers with a more authentic perspective, which is very, very cool. And finally, footballer Marcus Rashford has been is to be given the City of Manchester Award to thank him for his campaign to get free meals for children during the school holidays, which is an awesome effort and something hopefully that we can all contribute towards as well. So good on him and congratulations for that. It is, of course, Wednesday. It is the Business as Unusual show, so hang around. We're going to introduce our guest and get the show started. Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. This is a show where we try to explore some of the topics with our special guest, their kind of area of expertise, hopefully sharing some ideas, insights and knowledge that will help you to overcome any of those challenges that you're currently facing, and hopefully some insights and inspiration to try to make the isolation a little bit less isolating. I used to say that at the start of this show. We are now approaching our 50th show. This is our 49th show since the start of lockdown, and it kind of feels like we're kind of going a little bit full circle. So we've got to kind of band together, keep the positivity up, and that's what we're here to do today. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our guest today, Cheryl. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. Can you do a bit of an introduction to yourself and sort of the businesses and charities you work with?
Sure. So my name's Cheryl Causebrook. I'm a freelance construction consultant. I've been in the construction industry for over 30 years. I started off as a quantity surveyor, moved into business development and marketing. I still do surveying. I work with a number of local businesses. I co-chair the Kent Construction Focus Group with Ella Brocklebank. I chair the Constructing Excellence, which is a national club. I chair the Kent Club. And I organise an event on the last Friday of the month in Canterbury, the Miller's Arms, called Building Kent Connections, which is keeping people together through all of this. I've continued to do that during lockdown as well online, but I'll talk about that in a while.
Fantastic.
And I'm a trustee of a charity called Donations with a Difference.
Awesome. So what do you do in your spare time? You seem to be...
I've just become a grandma.
Okay.
So, and my children, my family, really, yes.
Amazing. Well, you sound like there's quite a long list of stuff that you do there. So
yeah, I don't have much free time.
I was going to say, yeah, that was actually a joke. That was genuinely supposed to be a joke because you sound like you don't have much free time. So we were talking kind of pre-show. How's the construction industry sort of fared over the last sort of 6 to 8 months?
It's been variable, really, different parts of the industry. So I work with a company that works in London. Mm-hmm. So they're working with tier 1 contractors. They've continued all the way through. Their workload has gone down and then picked up again. And then locally throughout Kent, most businesses have continued running, but differently. The sites are maybe shut for a couple of weeks, but then carried on. And then consultants have all retreated to their homes, and offices are not being used so much as well. So, yeah, it's a variety of things, really. And I work with different aspects of the industry, so there have been differing perspectives that I can see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's one of those ones where some are winning, some are losing, and it's a bit up and down.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on the trade. I mean, main contractors generally are continuing. Throughout the lockdown, it seemed that the consultants managed to get lots of information out for new projects. I think with the looming Brexit negotiations, obviously the funding is one of the issues that is going to come out from next year.
Yeah.
But generally, in construction, we just get on with it. Things need to be built, and Boris told us we're key workers and we need to carry on building, and build is what we've been doing.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where obviously it's massive long-term implications of any slowdowns, isn't it? It's not something you'd feel necessarily in the immediate future, but it's in 5 years' time, 10 years' time that we would kind of see that impact.
The start of any recession always starts with the construction industry slowing down. We had a little slow. We've come back up now, and the impetus into the building the infrastructure for more work is so relevant at the moment that we are continuing to push on with the construction. And one of the things that we need to address then is the skills, the people in construction. So it's been on the agenda for a long time. So I think during this the lockdown period, when builders could still work, it's put a different perspective on the construction industry, and hopefully people won't see it as a second-rate industry anymore.
Yeah, interesting. So one of the bits is obviously, you mentioned there's loads of things that you've got on your kind of radar. How has it been moving from the real world to a virtual world? Because again, not meaning to speak ill of the construction industry, but often technology was something from my interactions with people in that industry. They're not necessarily the kind of the forerunners of embracing certainly sort of digital technology in that sense. Maybe in the construction space, but not from a communication perspective. How's it been for you and the businesses you work with?
I've got very thick skin, and I will take that on the chin. But I think some of
not you, Cheryl.
Construction would take umbrage to that, because although we are a progressive industry, but when it comes down to working on site, there's only one trade that can dig foundations. So they can't use the technology that people want to progress. Robots building houses is a long way away. So certainly with the consultants, they're all moving forward. Modelling, and the contractors are seriously moving forward with that as well. And I think with what's happened now with the pandemic is making people much more focused on what they're doing to do it more lean. People are working at home, and they're working more proactively to get things over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, it's good to see, and I can't remember what group it was, but I was asked to speak a number of years ago, admittedly, to a whole group of sort of construction businesses to try to introduce them to the concept of particularly digital marketing. So, because it was at that point not necessarily sort of top of their kind of radar. Again, I guess it was because a lot of the deals, a lot of the conversations were done sort of face to face, and so actually.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that's come out of this, I mean, I organise events. I'd never done a video call before. So when we went into lockdown on the 23rd of March, I was running an event on the 27th in a pub on a Friday afternoon. And so I had to then log into Zoom and find out what it was all about, and managed to get 45 people to the first meeting.
Amazing.
It was amazing, except I didn't know that it was only a free 40-minute Zoom. And so after 40 minutes, everyone went, and I had to get everyone back.
Yeah, well, the joys of technology, isn't it?
Then I've done it every last Friday of the month. We've run the Kent Chamber did the Construction Expo online on the 1st of October. We had 7 hours of 3 stages and interactive speaking. It was quite frenetic, to say the least. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I think we're kind of learning, aren't we, as we go? It's like there's some technology.
Definitely. I mean, and from the construction industry's point of view, from my point of view as project managing a job in Hythe, we have people all over the country that are to do with the funding for the project, and we have a weekly meeting now online, which it would have been a ridiculous amount of money for everybody to have gone to those meetings every week. And I think it's progressing quicker because people are interacting better by meeting online. It's definitely going to save money for the industry, having these meetings where everyone you need to have is there in the room, albeit not in reality, just virtually.
Yeah, and there's a comment in the chat there from Molly Hall from the Chamber. Thanks for tuning in, Molly. And saying you smashed it. I heard really, really good things. I work with Molly quite closely with the networking for the Chamber, but I heard you guys did a fantastic job. And
Ella and I, we was from 7:15 till 3:15 with a speaker not turning up as well, one of the key speakers. But we can waffle for England. So she's in the room. She's in the room with me now, actually. She's given me my gin and tonic. So good. But we were drinking gin at 10 o'clock on the expo. So
don't say that, Molly.
They were taking 4 o'clock in the afternoon now.
Nice to see. Right. Well, we're going to put you through your paces now. We are going to check out not this one. There we go. This is a tenuous quiz where it's all about the building industry.
My word.
Sort of. So, yeah.
I hope nobody from building's watching me. Oh,
no,
my
you're
life.
fine.
Really?
You're fine. I say about the building industry sort of loosely. So, in what year did Bob the Builder have a UK Christmas hit #1 with Can We Fix It? Was it 1999, 2000, 2001 or 2002?
Ella's going, shall I Google it?
No. Stop cheating.
2001.
2001. Let's have a look. 2000. She is either not Googling it or she's Googled it incorrectly.
No.
Okay, good to know. Please play along, Molly. You love a good quiz. You're pretty competitive in the chat. Get involved and hold a fire with your prosecco for just 1 second. Just concentrate. Okay, next question. Lego comes from the Danish phrase "leg gut," but what does that mean in English? Is it kids' toys, play well, toy bricks, or let's go?
Toy bricks.
Toy bricks. You're looking kind of up on the camera over here.
The questions. My screen's frozen.
That is not good. Okay, so toy bricks was it? I think it was.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. It was in fact play well.
Oh, okay.
Molly, did you know that? You have to learn. You learn something from these quizzes. Molly does a quiz for the Kent and Victor Chamber every week, which I do on their behalf, or every other week on their behalf, and I learn something every time. Some random knowledge from Molly there. Okay, question number 3. Take a guess. How many years did the Eiffel Tower take to be constructed? Oh, wow. I'm glad your screen is frozen. Everybody who's just seen my screen, they know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought there'd be a multiple choice.
Are there choices?
No choices. Choice? That's why I went to the next screen. I thought there'd be choices. There are no choices. You just have to guess. It's shorter than I thought.
I've no idea. Short, 7 years.
It was in fact 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days.
Not by any contractors in Kent. They'll kill me.
Ouch! You just said that live. Okay. And if they are as tech savvy as you say they are, they're obviously tuned in. They've obviously heard that. So you're going to get some angry messages on LinkedIn, no doubt.
Look at that though. Look at the Eiffel Tower. And look at the pyramids. How did people build those things without the technology they have today?
Well, the pyramids one. I mean, that is a conspiracy theory answer waiting to happen, isn't it? Aliens would be the answer if you're in conspiracy theories. But yeah, it is genuinely incredible, isn't it? Let's see if we can do better with question number 4. Speaking of body building, which of these has Arnold Schwarzenegger? Which one of these has Arnold Schwarzenegger never been? Has he never been a bodybuilder, never been a football player, as in soccer, never been a bricklayer, or never been a truck driver?
Football player.
Let's have a look. Let's find out. He has never been a truck driver.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Goodness me.
I'm not very good at this. I was hoping you was going to do heads up. I'm quite good at that.
Yeah, that was back in the day. That was just a technical problem waiting to happen. Kirsty in the chat claims that aliens built by the pyramids. It's either a statement or she's just agreeing with what I've said. Kirsty, you let me know in chat whether that is whether you agree with that or you think it's built in a different way?
So I didn't get any of those right
Hang
now.
on, we've got
Oh,
one
there's another
more. We've got one more.
blimey.
True or false? The song "Build Me Up, Buttercup" by the Foundation stayed #1 in the UK in 1969 for 2 weeks. I guess
True.
that's true or false. False.
Oh.
It only made it to
Can I
number
go
2.
now?
Well, hold on a second. We have made it to the halfway mark. Well, that didn't go as well as it could have done. I think there's a chance
for that.
No, I'm sorry about that. Don't blame me. Hang on a minute. Don't blame me. There's just general knowledge in there. Molly wasn't even helpful in the chat as well, which is disappointing. But what can you do? Right, let's kind of crack on. Let's get back. We'll come back to status quo a little bit later on. Let's get back to some questioning right there. So we talked about the chat. We talked about the construction sector and the sort of some highs, lows, move to technology, and generally gone okay. The construction event seems to have gone really well. But you also mentioned that you do some work from a charity perspective as well. What's the impact for charities, and how's that sort of panning out?
Yeah, I'm trustee of a charity called Donations with a Difference. We're a grant making foundation. Generally, we raise we can raise money through events, and people apply to us for a grant for generally equipment they can't get from the NHS. So it's bespoke buggy or equipment to lift children out of bed or beds and those kind of things, but not just for children but for adults as well, wheelchairs. And we haven't had one event this year, so we would ordinarily have a couple of cocktail making evenings, our golf day, we had a ball last year as well, and the year before was part of a 3-way charity thing to do the 3 Peaks with Jenna Contractors. So it's been really difficult this year. I mean, luckily we were the charity for the expo, and we were to be the charity for the chamber for this expo. Would have been able to raise some money for us. We did manage to raise £1,200, but it was really just a begging thing, really, with the people that we know. We've still managed to make a few grants this year, some very, very small ones, but life-changing for the people we've made them for. A mum wanted a car seat for her child because she was 3-year-old, autistic, would always get out of her car seat, and there's a specific car seat where it was, I'm saying only £150, because that, although that isn't a lot of money, it's a lot of money for some people.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I understand that. And I delivered the chair to her, and she messaged me and said, I can take my child to school on her own now. I don't have to take my husband as well.
Amazing.
So it's life-changing to be able to do those things.
And a tough time, as you say. So how have you tried to adapt, and what do you think you can do kind of going forward?
Well, I've still been hosting the events that I'm doing online. So Constructing Excellence is a national club. We meet quarterly in Kent, and we have 4 events. And so each time we have an event, we have venue costs. And so when we had our meeting in July, we asked our members who pay an annual subscription, and they allowed us to use the money for the events, the venues, and we split that 3 ways between the Lighthouse charity, which is the construction industry charity, Mind, because obviously mental health is a massive thing in the industry, and for Donations with a Difference as well. So we've raised about £2,000 this year, and like I say, last year we raised about 25,000.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So it's still there, but it's a bit hard. And the trouble is, I guess it's also tough because there are less people with the money available to donate potentially, with given everything.
That's right. I mean, we have appealed to some people with regards to, they're not doing their events either now. They had money in their budget maybe for marketing and for their budget, and whether they would, help us out. But next year we'll be fine. We'll all be back to some kind of normality next year, and don't worry, we'll be back. Our golf days on the 1st of April.
I like your optimism. I'm going with it for now. Let's go with it.
There's only one way to be. You can only look forward.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. Not sure whether or not we're going to be allowed out. That's the only thing. I'm still saying it's positive. I'm just not sure when we're going to be allowed out. No. So a golf day in April, we can kind of look forward to that.
1st of April.
Okay, wicked.
1st of April. So it's the day before Good Friday.
Oh, fantastic.
So there'll be Easter bunnies on the course.
Well, you can still do that, because I still can
We can do a golf day.
Yeah, I'd say golf days are sort of allowed now, aren't they, actually? Because I'm a member of a golf networking event. Unfortunately, I very rarely have time to do it. But the idea is technically you can go out and play golf and do some networking as well. So it's still technically enabled, even through lockdown, which is positive. So looking kind of into the future, and we'll do this just quickly before we jump into the next bit around quotes. But how do you think the future of the construction sector will look? So what are the changes that have happened, behavioural changes during the pandemic, which will then carry forward and kind of reshape the industry for the future?
Well, they're calling the changes that are happening in the industry now the fifth industrial revolution. So the industry is changing in such a way, the digital revolution, lots of other innovations, the way people are working, the working from home. So I think only positive things will come out of what has happened. I think what it's done is it's made things move forward quicker than they would have done.
Yeah.
Because people are now thinking further into the future much sooner. Working at home was always something that was a possibility. For some small businesses, they didn't like it because they didn't trust their staff, whereas they've been forced into that, and now they're realising that it does work.
Yeah.
And I think productivity is just as good, if not better, when people are working from home.
Okay. I've got. I'm going to just jump out at this point and go to the quiz. But when we come back, and I'm putting it out there now because I kind of want to remember it. But what do you think? I'll pose a question now. Think about it whilst we're playing the quiz. Is the changes to the way you mentioned the work that you're doing at the project in Hythe with 1,000 homes. Essentially, the impact on the sort of the types of houses people will be interested in. Okay, we'll put a pin in that. Yeah. We'll both come back to that because I think that's an interesting one to pick up. But now is time for status quote. So these are some quotes that I'm going to read out to you, and I'd like you to tell me which one that you would snog, which one would you marry, and which one would you avoid. So basically, which one do you like, which one do you love, which one do you not love? Let's have a quick look. So first one, strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardship and decide not to surrender, that is strength. There's a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger in this stuff.
He's only got one Arnold in his name this time, though.
He's only got one Arnold, that's true. Was it double Arnold last time?
It was last time.
He's a big guy. You've got to put his name twice.
Well, I was obviously noticing that and not answering the questions correctly.
Yeah. So that's the first one. We'll put a pin in that. Come back to that one. Quote number 2. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but the seeds that you plant.
Very good.
Quite like that. Quote number 3.
I love quotes.
Exactly. It's just gold, isn't it? Quote number 3. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted.
Oh my goodness.
They're so good.
I want to marry them all.
But you can't. You can only marry one. What do you think? So we've got strength.
When you did the first one, I knew that was my one, but then you did the second one, and that was the one, and then you did the third one. So
tricky. So which one do you least?
So it's snog, marry, avoid.
Yeah.
So how could you avoid any of that?
They're all good. Aren't they?
Okay, then I would avoid 2.
So don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant.
I don't want to say that.
Yeah, I know.
No.
It's a good one.
I think which is the best? Is marry the best?
Marry's the best, yeah.
So number 3.
Okay, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted.
Never, ever.
Love that. Okay.
And that makes me emotional even thinking about that, actually.
Nice. That's great. That's,
and then so I would snog. Strength does not come from your winning. Your struggles develop your strengths.
When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. And
yes.
I think that's very relevant right now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's about positivity.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that is the challenge right now, isn't it? It's that keeping going despite the struggle. It's this trying to remind yourself that is the true strength. It's just to try.
And even though I said that don't judge each day as the last one, for that one, it's better to be kinder than what you do for other people. It's better to be kind.
Yeah. And
the strength is to keep your positivity.
I love it. Absolutely. Is there any other quotes as well? Anything that you've got that you kind of you lean on?
My quote was my own quote, which was don't look backwards because you're not going that way.
I like it, and very, very true. That is a great quote.
You should reflect on what you do.
Yeah.
But just keep moving forwards.
Okay.
You can't change what's already happened.
Absolutely. Not at the moment, at least. So, I agree. I think that's really important, particularly the focus on kind of coming forward. It's interesting you pick. I really like the middle one. I think the middle one's my favourite.
All right, I know, but I can't choose all of
You
them,
can't.
can I?
No,
I already said.
no, it's fine. I'm just shouting out for the middle one because I like the idea of, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but the seeds that you plant. Because last 6 months has been all about focusing on the seeds that you're planting for the future, rather than what's happening right now, because it's been so tough. So I think that's.
I would rather ring someone who is struggling than plant for myself.
Tis true.
So no act of kindness, so no matter how small, is ever wasted.
Absolutely. But what if the seeds that you're sowing are for the benefit of the many in the future? What?
They always will be, but it's nicer to be kind.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna go back and forth on that one, but
that's fine.
They're both great quotes. They're both great quotes. I love them.
They are all three good quotes. Yeah. So I don't like your snog, marry, avoid. Think of another way to put it.
Which one do you love the most? We've just renamed the game. Which one do you love the most? That is the name of the game. Right.
I love everyone.
Right. Coming back to the question that we put a pin in. We have 4 minutes left. How do you think the pandemic and the kind of the impact on society will change the way that houses are built or towns are developed? What do you think are the kind of the?
I can answer this from a point of view of actually practicality of where we are at the moment with the project in Hythe, because we had a lot of apartments there, 1-bedroom apartments, and the thought, challenge and changes are that people want gardens.
Yeah.
Where more people are working at home. So the mix of whether you have apartments or houses, whether it's 1 bed, 2 beds or whatever, is that people would prefer houses than apartments.
Right, okay, yeah, so there's a shift in kind of the makeup of what's going on, and is that something you're adapting and evolving in the current project, or
It will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the kind of London, the sort of decentralising from London as well, like people sort of shifting to the countryside?
Great for Kent.
Yeah.
It's great for Kent.
Yeah.
But I've always championed Ashford, with the high-speed link. My daughter lived in London for quite some time and she couldn't afford to buy. And I said, but, if you lived in Ashford, you would only be half an hour away. And she lived in Richmond and it took her longer to get to St Pancras to meet us than we did to get there.
Yeah.
So now she's moved back to Ashford and now we have a little grandson.
Oh, amazing. And how recent is that?
He's 14 weeks today.
14 weeks. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're still counting in weeks.
Wowzers. Yeah, that's actually, I don't know. Well, it depends. Is it sorry, a boy or girl? I missed that.
Boy Henry.
Boy Henry.
Yeah.
Is he a good sleeper?
Yeah. No.
No, This is where it gets difficult because
Which is really, because my daughter she's such a sleeper. She sleeps all the time, so she's really struggling.
Oh,
so today I've sent my son over to have the day with her. So
yeah. Oh, good. Well, I wish her all the best. I can only sympathise. Our first daughter was.
We sympathise, but not for very long.
Well, once you've done it, you're like, yeah. No, I remember those days, and it's pretty tough. As our producer Alex is currently finding as well. I think he's struggling with a bit of sleep as well. So it's I wish your daughter all the best, because it is a really tough one. How do you get sleepers? That's what I don't understand. All of my friends' kids were sleepers, and they're like, oh no, it's tough, but it's not too bad. They slept till like 7. I'm like, 7? I was like, what? I was like, they don't even sleep till 7 now. So when they were like,
more relaxed,
tiny, what? God. So yeah, tough one there. Right, how are we doing for time? We are pretty much running out of time, so I think we'll kind of conclude things there. Final shout out though, Cheryl. Any businesses that you mentioned that have been helping out the charity that you just wanted to kind of call out and say, for a great job they've been doing?
Contractors, Amos, Matt Samways from Amos is a big supporter of Donations with a Difference. Jenna Contractors always are. And somebody did actually donate some money and just put his name as Ollie, and it was £100, and I have no idea who it was. So whoever you are, Ollie, thank you so much. Yes.
Awesome.
Red Key Concepts is another one. They're always great supporters of us. Harwood's, who? Harwood's, yeah. I was telling me.
Thanks, Anna.
Yeah, so you all know who you are, and we thank you. We really, really appreciate all your kindness.
Oh, that's amazing. What a great way to end the show. So much good news and so much kind of generosity there, which is what the world needs a hell of a lot of right now, given everything that's going on. So thank you very much for
generosity and kindness.
Generosity and kindness. And I've got a comment in the chat from Ian Pinchin, says kindness every time, love it and agree. As well, we had a quote off there. It was a good quote off, and I think we both concluded that they were all. We concluded we have to change the name of the quiz to which one is the best one.
Marry.
Yeah,
bigamy.
Yeah, a non-monogamous relationship with the quotes. So that is it. You have frozen at this point, I believe. So so. Thank you very much for being a part of the show there, Cheryl. Just kind of, they can't hear you right now. They can't hear you right now, but I can hear you still. But she's saying thank you. Hang on, I'll bring you back. Are you back in? You haven't frozen. Say thank you now. You're back in.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having you there. You're frozen in a very pensive way, so it's good, because if I freeze, it's normally like this. So you're very lucky to be in that fantastic final pose there. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back again next Wednesday, would you believe, for our 50th show. 50 shows since the start of lockdown. We are going to try to have a number of guests. What can go wrong? Loads can go wrong because technology gets involved with it. So if you're around, tune in. It's going to be the same time as ever, so 4:30 on the Wednesday. It'd be great to have you along. I hope you enjoyed it. We're living in some strange and crazy times, but for all of us, it's just business as unusual.